Are these
Right.
the secrets some of the secrets the beauty industry doesn't want you to know? Oh, yes, please, tell us.
No, it's the truth they don't want you to know. I've even had one major retailer threaten to ban any product I ever worked on if I even published the book, and guess what? I knew I was on the right path, so I continued pushing to publish the book. You're not going to stop me. I'm getting out there. So some of the secrets, I won't embarrass you by asking to answer this question. I'm going to answer it for you. But if I asked you, if you just bought a 99% or 100% aloe gel, well, I live in Florida, so we all use aloe gel after you've been out in the sun or in the summer or whatever. We've all bought aloe gels at the drugstore. If it says contains 100% aloe on the front, how much aloe is in it? Before you embarrass yourself and say, Dave, 100%.
I'm going to assume the answer is not 100%.
No, it's certainly not. Let me tell you how it's done. We use a gelling agent, listed right on there, water, carbomer, et cetera, and that creates a thick gel. Now, I buy aloe as an extract. I can buy it 100% active, all the way down to just a fraction of a percent. Okay, so I make these thousands of gallons in production. I walk to the top of the tank. I take one drop of my 100% aloe gel and put one drop in the thousands of gallons. Guess what? It now contains 100% aloe.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yes, it does. It contains one drop of 100% aloe. Oh, my God.
And I could go on with other examples. There was a vitamin K cream a lot of women listening are going to be familiar with because it got rid of varicose veins or spider veins. And on the front, it used to tout contains 5% vitamin K. Again, I won't embarrass you by asking you how much 5% vitamin K is in there. I buy vitamin K at 2% or 5% active. That's all it comes in from my vitamin supplier. So I buy my 5% active. I go to my top of my tank. I put one drop in. Guess what? It contains 5% vitamin K.
So, again, it lets you know the quality of the vitamin K, but not the quantity.
That is correct. That is correct. And these are perfectly legal the way our cosmetic ingredient rules are written. Ingredients are in descending order. We've all heard that before. Until it hits 1%. At 1% or less, we're allowed to scramble it. So the first few ingredients make up the base of my cream. But here you go. Now I put vitamin K in it. I put aloe in it. I put a couple other things. And then truly, they're only drops, but anything else I have at a higher percentage can go below it, so it looks like I have more of the active ingredient. So I have permission to scramble them as long as it's 1% or less. So often the ingredient statements have 30 ingredients. The first 2 or 3 or 4 make up the real product. The rest are just there for fluff.
And there is no place where you can look to find out how much of the 100% aloe or the 5%, what the quantity of it is in the final product. There's no place. There's no other chart to look at or something that would give that information.
Now, in my book, I do give examples how to read ingredient statements. I do give you a list of certain ingredients that are never used above 1%, so you can look for them and spot where that section starts, so you can kind of decipher it. And a good portion of the time, you'll be able to figure out where you're being misled.
Now,
and there I even talk about some of the cosmetic claims.
But based on what you're saying, I mean, are there any products out there that are either not poisonous to the human body or that contain actually what they represent themselves to contain, on a positive note? Anything?
Yeah, no, there are. There definitely are. And the key is looking up to make sure they don't contain certain ingredients. Let's start with that. Putting anything on your skin is going to be better than nothing at all. Your skin must be hydrated. Your skin needs certain protection. Your skin can use other nourishing ingredients. Okay. But the key is to make sure you don't negate the benefits by putting something harmful on, or that may even do more harm than if you did nothing at all. And so we want to stay away from harmful ingredients. We can list a couple of them. You could look at your products and see it. The parabens I mentioned, PEGs and glycols, any of the laureth sulfate, mineral oil, petrolatum, fragrance. Let's talk about fragrance for a second. Here's another loophole. Fragrance is considered a formula of anywhere from a couple to even hundreds of ingredients. As long as I put it into that complex that at the end result is a smell, I can call it a fragrance. So everything I'm telling you to avoid, I actually could put right back in that product if I called it under the umbrella of fragrance. So I'm not saying the product can't smell. I just want it disclosed. So anything that lists the word fragrance, stay away from it. It's not the smell that's the problem. It's the word fragrance.
What about warning labels? I mean, it sounds like these things should have warning labels. Do any of these have warning labels? And if not, is there any requirement or, any proposal for a requirement on warning labels?
Currently, there are no real warnings that are required at all, not on cosmetics. There are some proposed regulations out there. There is now the California Safe Cosmetic Act saying if you contain certain ingredients, you must register in the state saying that this product may cause birth defects or something more, or, be toxic or cause cancer. And some of those ingredients aren't just determined by the FDA, but actually been published by FEMA, which amazes me. FEMA's determined some of these ingredients so harmful, and yet we're still using them in cosmetics. That goes beyond the FDA.
And I'm amused that you can laugh, though, because it's not I understand why you laugh, but it's not to be construed.
It's more of a nervous laugh. It's mind-boggling to me that this can take place. And so the one way to put a stop to it is government regulation's one thing, because now you've got to talk about spending money and how we're going to enforce it and this, that, and the other. You're going to have lobbyists fighting it. As consumers, we can band together by empowering consumers, by being educated and demanding that this change. And manufacturers will do it. You vote with your pocketbook. So I don't need a new law. Forget whatever laws are proposed because years to go into effect.
As long as there are some options available, because I think for probably most of the consumers of cosmetics, if they were told that you have a choice between nothing and this garbage, they would take the garbage. But if they're told you have a choice between this garbage and this other product or a series of products or various brands that are not so much garbage, then I think, there's something you might be able to do with them. Let's talk about Congress for a second. You talk about California, but let's talk about the federal government. We've seen a slew of bills come out of this Congress, each one attempting to exert federal controls over food and water, and I'm waiting for the one that's going to regulate air. Is there any current activity on Capitol Hill, good or bad, relating to the beauty and cosmetics industry?
There is, and I actually agree with some of them. As much as I think we're self-regulated, I think as consumers we can demand it. But truly, one thing most consumers don't know is they're talking about requiring all cosmetic manufacturers implement what we call GMP, good manufacturing practices. And it's not a requirement right now. So this can be made in your bathtub. You don't know. And so obviously some of the big brands have factories, but some of the smaller brands, there is no requirement under how it is manufactured. It's not that it's food grade. It's not that it's inspected. You could open up a factory tomorrow and no one's regulating it. That's sad. That's dangerous to me. And so some of these regulations, that would be one. Number two, to start requiring other safety requirements and testing on certain ingredients and products. And that I champion. That I think a lot of ingredients should be tested. The majority of chemicals out there are never even tested for safety, not just in cosmetics, but in anything we do. And so that to me is a huge problem. And so now we have some that are proven to be harmful, and yet we still allow them.
Well, now tell me, how is it that, I mentioned Botox before, but let's go back to that for a second. That really is overt. I mean, it's botulism toxin. It's a toxin. It's known to be a toxin. I'm sure that the FDA has it listed as a toxin, or the CDC, or somebody has it as a toxin. How do we end up with a whole slew of products under the name Botox yet, without having the government come in and say, wait a moment, you can't, this is a toxin?
Truly, it's a great question. And I'll tell you the answer that I perceive, just like with the 1,4-dioxane, that's a known carcinogen, and on the FDA.gov website, it will list the 1,4-dioxane. And here's how to know if it's in your product, because when the government tested that particular ingredient, they tested it on one product, putting it on, and this is the result because only a minute trace level gets absorbed. Okay. The problem is, there's not a person on this earth that uses one product. I don't know about you. I'll tell you from my point of view as a guy who doesn't wear makeup, okay? I started off in the shower this morning. I shaved cream. I took a bath or a shower. I used a body wash, used a hair shampoo, used a hair conditioner, put a gel or hairspray on my hair. I've named 4 or 5 products before I've even put on a aftershave balm, and let alone if you do anything else. And I'm a guy. Now turn to a lady that starts using several additional products. Have these products been tested with more layering of different products and the effects of that? And the answer is no.
Okay, I need you to back up now. I need to know, what is it I should be looking out for? Okay, this morning I
Okay.
did exactly that. I shaved. I had my shaving cream. I did that. I didn't take a shower this morning, but I did use soap as well. I used aftershave lotion after I shaved. I think that's the extent. I've got good toothpaste.
Okay, so for the FDA to test one item, well, you just hit on something, but the FDA to test one item is wrong. We all use multiple problems, even for the guy who's listening and says, I don't use anything. Guess what? Yeah, you do, because you and I just said it. Toothpaste, by the way, is also a cosmetic product. And so grab the tube of toothpaste. Let's start with that and read. Most toothpaste contains a lauryl sulfate. They contain parabens, and those are some of the most harmful things we're discussing. The lauryl sulfate contain 1,4-dioxane, again, mentioned by the FDA to be a known carcinogen. We have parabens that have been proven to accelerate the growth of tumors, and yet they're in your toothpaste, let alone the other products we're talking about. So you ask how to know what to look for when shopping is. You can go to my website, download a bookmark or a checklist. I even have one of the links on my website where they can go and look up favorite brands or certain ingredients and get a safety rating.
That's www.justaskdavid.com. Can they go to the website and ask questions that you'll answer?
They can. They go to contact us, email them in. We're setting up a blog shortly, but right now, email them in. Our saying is this: do what the big brands do. You got a question? Do what the big brands do. Just ask David. I'm an industry expert. People ask me questions all the time from the brands. Now I'm doing it for the consumer.
Fantastic.
There's no charge. It's free. Let's get the information out there.
Thank you so much. My guest has been David Pollock, and it's been a pleasure having you, David. Thank you so much, and I wish you the best. We will put a link to your website on our website to help bring people over there and help drive the need for the education on this issue. The website is www.justaskdavid.com. Thanks again, David Pollock.